everybody? People are already tuning in. They're already checked in here on Miami Total Football Radio, the show. I am one of your usual co-hosts. My name is Franco Panizo. Joining me on this week's show, showing face, unlike the other usual co-host, the one in attendance is Andrea Yanes, a.k.a. Akisita, showing face after one of her clubs, or one of her country's
One of my
clubs,
clubs. Shut
got
up.
smacked down. Got
Don't insult me
smacked
like
down.
that.
They got the
Yo,
smack down by
yo
Inter
feliz.
Miami. So, Andrea, how are you? Where is Jose? What's he doing? Why isn't he? He must be preparing your Valentine's Day plans.
I'm going to say that Jose started Valentine's Day since today. He gave me an amazing arrangement of flowers, very pretty. But unfortunately, we have spent the day working all day, doing all kinds of stuff, and he was busy tonight, so he couldn't do it. I made the time, but we were busy all day with some fun stuff and work. But yeah, he wanted me to convey the message that he was very happy with the result on last weekend's game in Honduras. So just passing through the same sentiment that I have. Very happy with that result. No complaints, nothing. Because Olympia lost against Inter Miami 5-0, right? 5-0.
5-0.
Yeah, 5-0.
5-0. It was last Saturday. We watched it together alongside Jose and our fellow colleague, El Venezolano, El Chamo, the Venezuelan, Fernando Petrocelli. We did so at Petrocelli's place in, what's that? It's pretty much Miami, practically, how far it was. But yes. It was fun. It was fun. We ordered some pizza. We watched the game. We talked some football, some analysis, talked some crap, some chisme, everything and anything. Jose, by the way, I have to share this with you. Jose, by the way, literally drinks ginger. And it was a big talking point. There was a huge talking point over the night because Petrocelli had never heard of ginger ale. He didn't know what ginger ale was, but he bought it for him as the host. And then Jose literally drank ginger, which I don't like ginger ale. Maybe if I'm mixing it with a cocktail, a drink, maybe. But nobody else drank ginger ale. Nobody else. Only Jose su famoso ginger ale. Maybe that's his new nickname. We'll add it to the list. Andrea, we've got a few things to talk about. Not usually as much as normal. Normally we're full of news and we can't cram it in. I think we should make good on our time today. And that is because, well, there's not that much to talk about. It's the most recent game against Olympia in Honduras. And of course, there's the upcoming game on Friday night, the Valentine's Day special, the preseason finale, Inter Miami versus Orlando City, in a nice exhibition of the Sunshine Clásico, El Clásico del Sol, up in Tampa, which I don't think we will be attending because, well, we've got Valentine's plans. You and Jose and me and my beloved. So I will watch the game, of course. I imagine you guys will as well. So we'll have our final thoughts on preseason going into next week. But anyway, we'll talk about those two games. We'll talk about the new jersey. Andrea, we'll get your thoughts on what you think about the new top. And we'll talk about Lionel Messi now. Is he sponsoring the energy drink for Inter Miami? Is Inter Miami sponsoring the energy drink for? I don't know. No sabemos. But we'll talk it all about.
You got a taste of the energy drinks. You know, I still haven't tried them. I've seen them in Publix and in Target, but I still haven't tried it. I heard that you guys got. Jose and I couldn't attend training today, and I heard you guys got some taste from the new Inter Miami sponsor.
Cuervo Miami in the comment section says hi there. Ed Sanchez says good to see you guys.
Good to see everyone.
The comment section's flowing in here with the early comments. This is a little bit later today. We're kicking off a little bit past 9:30.
Yeah, that's a good topic that Nader Sanchez is saying. I heard that it might be snowing in Kansas City the day of the match.
Oh, one step at a time. One step at a time.
That is a good topic and
one step at a time, Andrea.
Is going to be good to talk about.
We will get there. But let's start here on Miami Total Football Radio, the show. By the way, follow us on all our social media channels, including YouTube, especially YouTube. Free, behind the scenes stuff, interviews, all the good stuff, and podcast, of course. So, Andrea, let's start with, before we look forward, let's go back. Very quickly, which it's been a few days since then, but Saturday, Inter Miami traveled to Honduras. They played Olympia. To Olympia. No,
That's not my
I'm
team.
just kidding. Her team is Motagua. Her and Jose's team are Motagua.
I wore a Motagua shirt. I want that on record.
You did. I wore a Peru jersey and you're wearing a Motagua jersey. What was Jose wearing?
Mauricio Dubon jersey.
Okay, yes. All the same. Inter Miami goes into Honduras and they beat your club's rival 5-0. A 5-0 goleada, mauling, a rout. The biggest victory for Inter Miami in this preseason. Andrea, what were your thoughts, your biggest takeaways from the game? But for me, there's good talking points, and I don't want to sound
well.
I don't want to sound like we're just going to focus on the negative, but I just thought Olympia was not a very good caliber opposition.
Look, Olympia, I think the first couple of minutes, Olympia had some chances, especially in the first half. And after Inter Miami scored the first goal, Olympia disappeared. It's like they said, like, whatever, it's Messi, we are not going to care, we're not going to play anymore. But Olympia had a good 3 or 4 chances that Ustari did well, especially the one with Benguche that Ustari cleared, and a kick from Jose Mario Pinto that went just out of Ustari's goal. Those were 2 clear chances that Olympia had and didn't take. And once Inter Miami figured it out, they were done. They were done. Olympia didn't. After that, the first 2 goals, Olympia didn't. No metió ni las manos. Like, seriously, they all just wanted Messi's shirt, and it's been a big talking point the week after, because Olympia fans were complaining because to let people know, the supporters group La Barra del Olympia was not allowed to go in this match against Inter Miami because they didn't want anyone not supporting Messi there. So La Barra as a whole, that's called Ultrafiel, couldn't get in the stadium officially and support Olympia, right? So fans were very mad because of what was shown. Olympia looked horrible after those first 2 goals from Inter Miami. Olympia looked like an amateur team, worse than San Miguelito, and really, it was a shame, to tell you the truth, because supposedly Olympia is they like to call themselves the biggest team in Central America because they have won CONCACAF Champions League a couple of times, and they consider themselves the biggest team in Central America, and they didn't show it.
Tremendous reflection of Honduran football, that was.
It was not. No, because, well, Motagua is in Champions League, and we're going to beat Cincinnati, and we're going to show Olympia how it's done. Listen, Motagua has been the one in the last couple of years representing Honduras internationally, because Motagua beat Pachuca, who were the champions in Mexico in the last edition that Motagua was there. Ustari was the goalkeeper for Pachuca, to tell you the truth. To tell you a fact, an interesting fact. So there's no comparison, obviously, in this moment. But Olympia was not a good opponent.
Let's start there.
They were not a good opponent. And listen, I understand that you like Messi and that you admire Messi, but it was really pathetic what Olympia players did, because you have to have some dignity. For me, it's unacceptable. If I were an Olympia fan, I would be mad, because it's unacceptable that San Miguelito, with a man down, was better than the supposed más grande de Centroamérica against Inter Miami, and against an Inter Miami that was not perfect, because Olympia had those chances because of what I've been talking about all this time, that Inter Miami's.
So let's go into the game. I disagree with you. The caveat is there because, look, Malcolm Merlin here says, I mean, that's all you guys do is focus on the negatives. No, my friend. We paint you as thorough a picture here as possible. That means we talk about the good. That means we talk about the bad and everything in between. This is not a pro Inter Miami podcast. We are not fans. We don't have pom-poms. We don't cheer for Inter Miami. So we paint you the full picture with our opinions. For better, for worse, whatever your opinion is of that, that's fine. But here you're going to get all of it. There's no sugarcoating things. I'm putting the caveat because the level of the opposition was not great. This was probably I wouldn't say they were the least talented. I can't imagine that San Miguelito is more talented than Olympia, at least on paper. But in terms of performance, this game was the worst in terms of the el nivel de exigencia, the level of demand physically from a soccer standpoint as well. It just wasn't great. And Inter Miami steamrolled once they got going. Lionel Messi had a goal and 2 assists, if I'm not mistaken. And Inter Miami just cruised. Inter Miami cruised. The game was pretty much over, I think, after the second goal. From that point forward, there was really no way Olympia was getting back into it with how they played. There were some good things for Inter Miami in this game. The way they defended high up the field. Federico Redondo wins the ball up, and that leads to a quick counter that ends in a goal, which I imagine that's what Javier Mascherano wants to see from his team when the MLS season gets going, to be able to defend in that mid-block and try to force turnovers and then quickly get the ball to Messi and Suarez and allow them to do their magic. I would say this, ojalá que no se confunda. Hopefully this game doesn't confuse them, because the level in MLS, sorry, Andrea, is higher than the level in Honduras's first division. And the games are completely different in terms of the style. In MLS, it's very ping-pongy. It's very back and forth, a lot of transitions. So it's not like you're going to get prolonged spells of possession and you can try to, like, Inter Miami can press, Inter Miami can do the same type of tactics, but the level of opponent will be different. The style of opponent will be different once MLS gets going. So we'll see how Inter Miami does. Look, you can only play the team.
I don't agree that there's a big gap. This was a preseason friendly for both teams that they didn't take seriously. But what I agree is that we saw some interesting things from Inter Miami, because what you say about Redondo is a good talking point, but also what we saw with the guys coming in, right? We saw Tadeo Allende, that we were talking about him looking lost in that first half, but we talked about Tadeo Allende being lost in the first half, but we also talk about Redondo having a better game than what he had been showing in the last couple of preseason games that they played, right? Because especially because of that goal, that assist. And I think another talking point in this game is how Luis Suarez looks. I couldn't believe that Luis Suarez, the way he looked, assisted that way and made that play the way that he did against Olympia, because it looked like Luis Suarez was running like in we say in sports, cámara phantom, because he didn't run in. He looked so out of shape. I'm not gonna make the mistake that I did last time of saying that I thought he was so out of shape that he wouldn't score a lot of goals in MLS. But right now, I really think that this off season, that was the first off season in his career, that was 3 months, almost 3 months of no real competition, because preseason is not real competition. Let's talk what it is. This is not real. This is the intensity of the games, the intensity of the players is not the same when you're fighting for 3 points than when you're fighting and you're making a party because Messi is going to your country, right? So I think Luis Suarez looks a little bit out of shape still, but for MLS, I wouldn't doubt him, but I don't know if he's going to be there ready for
he looks rough. He looks rough.
Champions League.
He looks rough. And Nader Sanchez in the comment section agrees with you. Suarez running is hard to watch. How are they going to play in the
Exactly. That's for MLS. I think Suarez is enough, but Club World Cup, CONCACAF Champions League, I don't think Suarez in this state is not going to be enough.
Justin says, Andrea, I have to agree. Suarez is not in shape, but he is still Suarez. He will score goals.
Yeah,
Pablo Golazo. Suarez is like a bear, and that's just his winter colors. I like that.
It could be. Listen, these players, and they were talking about it. They had never had, and let's remember they got eliminated in October. So October,
November.
No,
early November. It was right before
the first week of November, November 1st. So November, December, in January without really playing. So it's you could see it's hard on some players, but you can see it with Luis Suarez that it has been hard on him because last year he ended in a good spot, and you could see he was slowing down or whatever, but he was there. I haven't seen that.
He scored in this one. But listen, again, and Inter Miami can only play the opponent in front of it, right? That's fair. So if you beat the opponent 10-0, 5-0, fair game to you. But in this game of the 5-0,
after the first goal,
Noah Allen and Ryan Sailor both scored.
Yeah, like I was telling you, after the first two goals from Inter Miami, Olympia were just thinking about asking Messi his shirt and Messi's picture and all of that. That's unfortunately the fact for Honduran football. That's just the fact.
These were the goal scorers: Lionel Messi with the game winner in the opener. Federico Redondo scored the second one. Noah Allen had the third one before halftime. And then after the break, you had goals from Luis Suarez and from Ryan Sailor. The fifth goal was funny, not because we're making fun of Ryan Sailor, but it was humorous to watch Messi and Suarez and Busquets on the bench in surprise that Ryan Sailor scored.
You know that Honduras had a camera on Messi at all time. We saw that game in Honduran television.
Great production television.
So they had a Messi cam, and after the fact, we were watching Honduran television, and they were analyzing what Messi said to Suarez and to Marcelo Weigand, who were sitting with him on that bench, and Messi said, "Por fin tiene uno." When Ryan Sailor scored. And I was like, oh my God, imagine Messi saying that about you. Ryan Sailor can be very happy because Messi was laughing and very happy and said, and he was saying, por fin tiene uno. So he was happy for his teammate, but that tells you all. Listen, when Inter Miami made all those changes, for me, it's unbelievable that Olympia couldn't handle all Santi Morales, Ryan Sailor, Noah Allen.
It was over, man.
But even with that, they were only thinking about the game ending and not going to Messi and ask the
It is a friendly.
Picture.
It is a friendly after all. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't think we can get a lot like futbolisticamente out of this game. Just we talk about Redondo, we talk about Luis Suarez, but I don't think we can get enough even to tell you the truth. If we analyze every position or everything, you cannot get anything like meaningful out of this game.
I don't know if you can't get anything, but it's with the caveat that they played an over.
Maybe from the first 25 minutes or something like that, when it was competitive, when it was equal, at least equal in intensity and in the team's trying, right?
The team shows progress with the idea that Javier Mascherano wants to implement. They're showing right. If they come out and they play this poor Olympia team and they can't
score,
execute on the idea that Mascherano comes, then we're like, okay, well, what's going on here? At least they showed progress and they overwhelmed and overmatched the opponent, which is what they're supposed to do. So in that regard, there are some things you can take away. I'm not going to make great generalizations. They're making progress here towards the end of preseason, but obviously there's still a lot of work to be done, especially as they get to more competitive matches against higher level opposition. This was the starting lineup, by the way, because we cannot discuss this match without talking about this very talking point. It was, again, the 4-4-2, Oscar Ustari in goal, back four from right to left, Chelo Weigand, Ian Frey, David Martinez, Noah Allen, midfield three, David Ruiz, your David Ruiz, the birthday boy, the Honduran international David Ruiz, alongside Sergio Busquets and Federico Redondo up top. Oh no, and then you had Tadeo Allende, sorry, out on the left. Up top, you had Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi. Now, we have to talk about Ruiz because, yes, it was his birthday. Yes, he was in Honduras. His family was in attendance. There was a lot of nice moments before the game. But one of the bigger talking points came during the match when he is subbed off in the first half. And we didn't see any contact. We didn't see any injury. After the match, he was interviewed by Honduran TV. He says he felt a little something and he subbed himself off. Now, Javier Mascherano went in more detail on Monday when we... Was it Monday that we went to training or Tuesday? Tuesday. When we went to training on Tuesday. And Javier Mascherano says that David Ruiz has some peculiar type of issue where his leg goes numb. Se le adormece. So he said it used to happen around the 60th, 70th minute of playing. And now it's happening in shorter spurts. So this time it happened in around, the 30th minute or so, and he was subbed off a few minutes after, replaced by Benjamin Kremaski. David Ruiz has not been in training this week. We have not seen him at practice, neither on Tuesday nor on Thursday, so very much likely that he is out for Friday's preseason finale against Orlando City. But what can you tell us about this injury? Is there any more light that you can share with regards to what this injury is? Because it is a bit odd. They did say they were trying to prevent him from having surgery, not saying that he's going to have surgery.
He said that they were trying to prevent that. That's what I understood. Like you, I understood the same. But David Ruiz has been having problems in this leg since last year because he couldn't go with the national team when the national team was playing Nations League. He couldn't go. And he's been having trouble with this leg. It's the same leg, supposedly, because as Luis Lopez is saying, knowing Inter Miami, they'll never disclose what it is. Yes. That is what I was about to say. But they don't tell us what leg, what muscle, or whatever. Listen, if you're a football team, you have to say that. Like, I have many examples, even in MLS, when they are more open, but we don't know. So with what has happened last year in the last window for Nations League, David missed those games with the national team. So I'm guessing it's the same problem because Reinaldo Rueda, who is the coach for Honduras, talked about that when he missed those games, and he traveled and he couldn't play because the same thing happened to him. He was having trouble, and he was having trouble with his abductores, they said in Honduras. In Honduras, they are transparent, at least with injuries, and they said that he had problems with that and that he will return to Inter Miami. So this is something that's been happening since last year, and hopefully David doesn't need surgery because listen, it's a big year for him. It's a big year for him, especially in the national team, and it would be a shame if he's going to miss more games and more games with Inter Miami, also because his opportunities in the team currently are limited. So it would be a shame if David has to get surgery. But listen, with these injuries, at the end of the day, like Mascherano said, is better if you are a little bit more aggressive, because if not, I've seen a lot of players that don't tend to these injuries because they are afraid of having surgery, and then it gets worse. So hopefully David doesn't need surgery, but if he does, I think he can be out a couple of months. But hopefully.
Well, we'll see what the timeline is. We'll see what the decision is. We'll see if he comes back. We haven't seen him this week, and we haven't gotten any word as to how long he will be out for. Maybe we'll get more clear indication next week before the games that matter begin.
Remember, next week we have to get reports because MLS halfly copied the style of the NFL with injury reports, not fully, because in NFL you get injury reports every day, and in MLS we get just once a week. Dice Cuervo Miami, all teams in all professional sports hide the details of the injury. Well, let me tell you, not true, because we've seen with all the injuries in Europe, all those big teams, we have seen well, for example, the last one I remember in my head, Lisandro Martinez went out injured with Manchester United. Within 3 hours, you had a comunicado oficial from Manchester United saying Lisandro Martinez is going to be out 9 months with a ACL injury. Eder Militao returned from ACL.
Hold on. I don't disagree that teams try to downplay some injuries, but if there are rules in place, more often than not, those rules are followed. And in MLS, there is no uniform rule. There's no una regla para todos. So everyone just kind of freestyles and does whatever the hell they want. Now MLS is trying to make it a little bit more uniform, but it's still not great. But anyway,
hopefully it's something that can be worked on. But David, it seems he's going to miss some time, and listen, with March coming in, he has national team duties, and he has Inter Miami. They have CONCACAF Champions Cup, and
I think it's really important for him to just stay healthy because
I
mean, minutes in Inter Miami's midfield are going to be at a premium. I mean, you know, Pedro is going to play. You know, Busquets is going to play. Yannick Bright is in there chomping at the bit for minutes. On the wing, you have Tadeo Allende. You have Telasco Segovia, who was those are two additions from this offseason. We haven't seen Segovia yet, but those are two guys that Mascherano has brought in, that this Cuerpo Técnico, this technical staff has brought in as part of their transfer targets. So it's going to be very, very tough to get minutes. So you need to be healthy to even have a chance. If you're out injured, I mean, Benjamin Cremaschi, we're not even mentioning Benjamin Cremaschi, but if you're out injured, you're going to probably fall down the pecking order, and it's going to be tough to climb out with how many options there are in that midfield. So we'll see what happens with David Ruiz. On the positive note from the injury front, Toto Aviles was back in training today, Thursday, doing individual work with the physio. Looks like he's working his way back from concussion protocol, and I've seen it in the comment section here. Let me see if I can find it very quickly. It's from Thomas. He says, Franco, I saw that you posted Redondo and Aviles were in Argentina for green card paperwork, so they don't need international spots, ? So what we were told is that Redondo and Aviles were both in Argentina in recent days to work on green card matters, try to get the paperwork sorted so that obviously they don't take up international spots on the MLS roster. That has not come to pass yet. So as of right now, as far as we know, they do not have their green cards. They are working to get their green cards.
We will know before February 21st. That's the day where all MLS teams have to be roster compliant, and you have to know which are your international players and for your international roster spots, and which are the players that don't count as international players once they have their green card or are American, right? So we will know more on February 21st, but I think you're right that they're doing the paperwork. They still don't have it. So in this moment, they are still counting in this moment at this day, February
as international
13th,
players.
International players, yes.
Now, while they were both in Argentina taking care of that, from what we were told by a team spokesperson, Thomas Aviles was also coming out of concussion protocol. He took a hit last week in training, so he missed the game because of that, right? Yeah, he missed this game. Right?
He missed on the Olympia game.
So he missed this game, and now he's coming out of the concussion protocol. Jordi Alba is also back. He was back in practice on Tuesday. Sandwiched in between this practice on Tuesday and this game on Saturday, last Saturday in Honduras, was Lionel Messi going and attending the Super Bowl for the first time in his life, if I'm not mistaken. And he was there with the Cuatro Fantásticos, the Fantastic Four, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets. They were there posing pictures with Tyreek Hill, who I'm a big fan of in the other football world. Messi did an Adidas promo shoot. There's a lot of pictures and videos of Messi behind the scenes as he walks into the area where he was sitting.
But let's face it, Messi only took pictures with Tyreek because they were doing an event with Adidas. He didn't take pictures with anyone else.
He took pictures with a reporter. I can't remember her name. A female reporter that covers the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, she asked him for the picture, of course, but all the same, that was
for the Swiftie fans. He didn't take pictures with Taylor Swift, with Kendrick Lamar. He didn't take any pictures with any other of the stars that were there.
Thomas says Messi NFL video got more views than the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. That's true. That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
So any thoughts on that, Andrea? We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on Messi going to the Super Bowl, but it was a talking point this week. So any thoughts on that overall?
Yeah, well, I guess it is good for Messi for MLS, but I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get video of Messi during the Super Bowl. And,
but the camera did not pan to him during the game.
They panned on Paul McCartney. Listen, and I'm gonna get hate because of this, but it is what it is. Americans don't care about MLS and Messi. That's the truth, and that's why you saw everyone else get airtime and not Messi. Messi should have been.
Maybe Messi was having
is
some
Messi,
dip.
so Messi should have been there having as much as airtime as Taylor did, because they were the two biggest stars there, Taylor and Messi, right? And I was disappointed that I didn't see Messi in that Fantastic Four, because it was a missed chance for Inter Miami and MLS in general, for people who were watching the Super Bowl to see them there and ask, oh, what is Messi? Where is Messi playing here or whatever? For people that don't know, right? That's a crowd that MLS doesn't have, and it would have been nice to see Messi there. And yeah, Tommy is saying he saw a video of Tyreek Hill with Messi's son. Yes, that Tyreek was with Messi, and that was one of the videos that got published. That and Nader Sanchez folks showed every celebrity except for Messi. Exactly, they didn't show Messi or Luis Suarez or Busquets and Jordi Alba, and I think it was a missed opportunity, because the Cuervo Miami Andrea Fox will not show Messi to promote Apple TV MLS for free. Well, yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, but yeah, I was disappointed with that because I don't want to get hate with that, because I know people love the Super Bowl and love the way that it is, but I think Messi should have been featured as one of the stars that was there, because
maybe he was eating dip. Maybe he was eating Tostitos with dip, and when the camera was
it's weird because when
he was eating chicken wing, alitas in the Super Bowl.
When he went to the NBA, we were there for that. The only game that he has gone to the NBA, to the Miami Heat. Busquets and Luis Suarez go often, but Messi just has gone one time, and we were there, and all game they were just on them, Messi and the Inter Miami players. So it's very weird to me that we didn't see Messi, but I don't know. It's just the only complaint that I have with that, and I think it was a missed opportunity for Inter Miami and MLS, right? Because that would have been
not their call, right? It would be
it was obviously it was not their call, but for me, it was a missed opportunity. But people obviously know Messi, and maybe it was because since previously people were saying that Messi was supporting Mahomes, and they even asked Mahomes about Messi going and all of that.
Messi's kids were wearing Mahomes Eagles jerseys. No, some were wearing Eagles jerseys.
Luis Suarez kids were wearing Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles Hurts jerseys.
I have to go back to the picture. I'm pretty sure that at least one of the Messi kids was wearing, like, they were like split. It wasn't, Messi was just wearing his Messi
I think brand. Jordi Alba's and Luis Suarez's kids were wearing Jalen Hurts #1 shirts, but Messi's definitely the smallest kids for Messi was, and he posed with Tyreek Hill. That's why I remember he was wearing a Patrick Mahomes shirt. So I guess maybe it's because of that. Donald Luis says Messi is bigger than the entire NFL. Yeah, well, yeah, he is. We all know that, but Americans don't know that, right? And it is a fact, unfortunately. And this was a big opportunity for even Messi, because for him,
this is the picture. This is the picture that was posted by Jordi Alba. Let me get the comment out of the way so we can get a clean look at it. But there's the Fantastic Four, Los Cuatro Fantásticos. Nice little embrace, a nice little picture. Actually, honestly, it's for me, on the outside, it's cool that they got to experience that, and they got to experience it together. So as they all come on this journey to the United States to play for Inter Miami and play in Major League Soccer, it's cool that the four of them, who are close friends off the field as well as star teammates on the field, that they got to share the experience together with their kids. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. As for whether the TV should have panned to Messi or not, I mean, again, maybe he was eating chicken wings. With chicken wings, maybe he was out at getting the tray out of the food tray. He was nibbling on the wings, or he went to the bathroom. Who knows? Or maybe
maybe he left before the game started. We don't know, so it could be that too.
It could be any of those things, or maybe like Cuervo Miami said, maybe they just did not want to give MLS and Apple free exposure. Which, by the way, when the Super Bowl ended, an ad came out of Lionel Messi. Who else? Haciendo pataditas, juggling a American football before he kicked it through the upright, which was clearly edited, and it was an ad for the upcoming.
Yeah, that's especially season, with that cool. Ad in mind. I thought that Messi would feature in the Super Bowl. So yeah, it was really weird to me that we saw Paul McCartney and everyone, and with that ad coming in at that time, just after the Super Bowl ended, I thought Messi would have been.
No vamos a entrar a ese detalle. We're not gonna.
I didn't read the comment. I'm too far away.
Ahorita entramos.
But it was.
That was cool. El comercial de la MLS, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, but let's tell people that it didn't air on Fox, right? It aired on social media and on Apple TV, but not during the broadcast.
Right. MLS wasn't paying that much money to have a commercial during the broadcast. Although David Beckham did make an appearance. So Inter Miami was involved in the commercials in some way, shape, or form. David Beckham, Inter Miami.
With the Stella. Yeah.
But Messi's commercial, hey, listen, still smart marketing from MLS to post it on social media. They don't spend as much money, right? And two, they still take advantage of the moment that is the Super Bowl in the United States of America's culture. A lot of people are plugged in. A lot of people are tuned in. I watched it at the annual Super Bowl party that I go to with a family friend who I've known since I was in second grade. So it was cool. I thought the commercial was neat. The other part, before we switch gears to tomorrow, is that we officially or unofficially or officially, I can't keep track anymore of because it's been unveiled so many times, but I guess we officially know what Inter Miami's new jersey looks like. And there it is. It's official. Lionel Messi rocking it as he drinks his own Mas Energy sports drink. Not energy drink, sports drink only. It's pink, vertical stripes, just like Argentina's jersey. Jose Armando, I know he's not here. Your boo, your hubby, your colleague, your coworker, said that he thinks it might be one of the best Inter Miami jerseys in the team's short history.
Yeah, he liked it a lot.
Andrea, very quickly, because we don't have to spend a whole lot of time, still going to talk about tomorrow. Do you agree with that? Is this one of, if not the best, Inter Miami jersey in the team's existence?
The shirt is very pretty, but for me personally, it's not the best. I like others better. I like the black one with La Palma. That was called La Palma. I like it better than this one.
Why?
Just because I think it looks better.
But what makes it look better in your eyes?
I like the black thing with the first pink numbers and the detalle with the los árboles, and I really like that shirt. But this one is really very, very pretty too. And for me, of the pink ones is I like this one better than the one last year, because I didn't like last year's pink. I said it here. It looked like, I don't know, a salmon or something like that. It was not real pink. This is real pink.
But doesn't this one have like a similar shade? Because there's two different shades of pink.
Yeah, it's two different shades, but it's a little bit darker than the one last year, and not as salmon.
I need to confirm that.
We got a chance to interview some of the players after training last day, and they were wearing the uniform. That's why Jose saw it firsthand, and I like that the shorts, when you see the whole uniform, the short is in the tone of pink, the lightest tone of pink. So I really like that. And
Cuervo Miami says both kits are a tribute to Barcelona shirts, not Argentina.
Yeah, I was going to say that because the black one is a Barcelona shirt just with another colors, and this one is also a Barcelona
I
shirt
don't know. I
with
mean,
other
listen,
colors.
I don't know about that because if you
Yeah,
like,
the Barcelona
forget
shirt,
it.
the famous one with blue
It's
and
time.
red and the
They were, but Barcelona changes their. They have the same two color scheme, but the pattern changes, right? It historically has been stripes. But if you think of Messi's teams and you think of vertical stripes, you're thinking of
Barca.
no. I'm thinking of Argentina, man. These
Now
won the
because he
half
won
and
the
half.
World Cup, but
No,
historically it's Barcelona.
no. Anyway, very quickly, because I wanna chime in here on the aesthetics, because I'm a big jersey nerd. I think this is the best. The one I'm showing right now. That is the best pink jersey Inter Miami has had. Now that was a training top. It was not an official game jersey. If we're talking game jersey, this is for the people that listen, don't watch the podcast. I'm talking about the training top from 2021 and 2022 with the Auto Nation. It was predominantly pink with black touches on the collar, and they wore black shorts when they were training with those. That looked fantastic. And for me, this jersey is very, very good. It's very, very clean. If we are talking strictly game day jerseys, this is up there for the best. It might very well be the best. I have to still see it in action to make that determination. I would pair it with the very first home pink jersey with the collar. That was just kind of symbolic now. It's kind of, I don't want to say legendary, but it has ingrained itself in Inter Miami history because it was the first pink jersey, because Lionel Messi donned it, because Lionel Messi scored his first goal for Inter Miami in it. So it's very memorable. They won a trophy with it. So I would say one of those two jerseys are the top for the home jersey pink top title.
I like the black ones better. It's just a preference.
No, of course. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. But this one is pretty. It's
It's
pretty. It's a pretty shirt. It looks good. It looks good. It is a kit that is going to sell a lot, even more than the other ones, because people think about Barcelona. Some people think about Barcelona. People that don't care about Argentina think about Barcelona, and Argentina people think about Argentina. So it's going to sell a lot. And to say that Inter Miami is going to.
There you go, Andrea. Thomas in the comments said one of Messi's sons was wearing the. I told you. I'll still verify the check, but I'll be a good
I am sure that Suarez and Jordi Alba's sons were wearing Eagles. I don't recall Messi because I just remember seeing his small son. I think I saw three people with three kids with a Patrick Mahomes jersey, but I don't know. I don't know if they were Messi's three or what. But I think this is going to be a good shirt, and it's going to sell a lot.
Oh, it's going to sell crazy.
And what I was going to say is that they are going to play 2 years with this jersey, because MLS let them, because this is Messi's official last year with the team. They let them get 2 new jerseys when that is not the rule in MLS in the past, right?
Listen, so it's all about the Benjamins.
Exactly. Now that Messi's here, they let Inter Miami have 2 new shirts in a season when usually you just get one, right? So they're gonna use it two times, because next year they're not gonna get a new home jersey.
Nader Sanchez says it's basically Argentina's jersey, but in pink. Sergio says yes, this new home is the best home kit. Let's see what else we've got in the comment section. Here we go. Luis Lopez, the pink with the colors, probably the most.
I agree with Luis Lopez, and with you also. I think when you think about Inter Miami, I think that is the shirt that you will think, and just because it was the first one, it was, and then Messi came and played with it. But I think that is the. Since Inter Miami doesn't have history, you cannot say iconic and this and that. And
I think I like the word. I think that's the word I was looking for. I think iconic. Longer term, that will be the jersey that most people draw.
Steve Munoz says that's not Barca or Argentina. Come on, it's an Adidas template. Look at us. Well, yeah, that's true also. All the shirts are the same. All MLS shirts are the same.
No, time out. I disagree with you, and I disagree with Steve Munoz. Yes, I mean vertical
shirts are the same.
Vertical stripes are not only for Argentina or Barcelona or whoever. Right. There's plenty of teams that have worn vertical stripes at any point. But if you think it's a coincidence that they did this half and half black jersey, which is reminiscent of a recent Barcelona jersey, and then they do these vertical stripes, which is reminiscent if you want to call Argentina or Barcelona, while Messi's here, then I mean, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. That definitely has to tie in with Messi. I mean, Messi sells, man. Messi sells. So anything that they can tie to Messi, relate it to Messi, it's going to make money. Anyway, all right, let's move on.
I don't think, though, that Messi this year, to close with this subject, I don't think Messi's shirt is going to be the best-selling shirt in the whole United States, because now Luka Doncic's shirts with the Lakers is going to be the best-selling shirt in the whole country. It's true.
Andrea, por favor. Bro, what do you mean, Andrea?
In the United States, I'm talking about.
Messi's jersey is going to be the best-selling jersey in the United States, no, hands down. Luka Doncic,
no more than the Lakers shirt.
Andrea, that's probably your wildest take of
it is true. All people in America watch the NBA and the Lakers and not MLS.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
If you say the world, then yes, of course, it's Messi. But
in the United States, Messi's jersey will still be the top seller. Hands down. Wait till the end of the year. Well, I'm gonna click this and we're gonna save it. Just for you.
I stand by it.
All right. Switching gears. Friday night, Inter Miami, closes out its preseason schedule. It does so against rivals Orlando City in the latest Sunshine Clásico, El Clásico del Sol in Tampa. My initial plan was to go, so I think it was the same for you guys, but alas, given the context of this game, we will not be there. We will watch it live. It's going to be on Apple TV, so no more looking for a broken link, no more having to search the World Wide Web, no more having to rely just on Inter Miami. It will be on Apple TV. For those of you that have it. If you don't know, T-Mobile users can get Apple TV for free this season. I think Metro as well, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, if you have season tickets, then you will get a pass. You should have already gotten a pass in the last few days. So anyway, it'll be on Apple TV Friday night in Tampa. Final friendly. A couple of weeks ago, Javier Mascherano said that game before the match against Kansas City, we'll have to see how we manage minutes. Now that we're in the week of, and I'm pretty sure he got a talking to because tickets are being sold for this game, he was a little bit more diplomatic. He said that no, he's not going to rest anybody, that he wants players to be in a rhythm heading into that CONCACAF Champions Cup first leg against Sporting KC next Tuesday. This is what Javier Mascherano had to say earlier this week on Tuesday with regards to the approach to Friday's Valentine's Day preseason finale.
La idea obviamente es que todos puedan tener la mayor cantidad de minutos, más allá de la cercanía al partido. Es importante que puedan llegar con ritmo al partido de Kansas, así que lo iremos manejando.
So they will be managing the situation. I mean, reading between the lines, knowing what's coming, knowing that not only do they have Champions Cup on Tuesday, they have their MLS regular season opener the following weekend, and then after that, the second leg of the Champions Cup the following week. And then 45 minutes is as much as we're going to see of Lionel Messi and the primary starters, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even if we see him, I don't think we're going to see him from the start. Like, if I was a coach, I wouldn't risk him from the start. I would bring him in the last minutes for people to see him and giving him minutes, right? And all the starters. But I think tomorrow is going to be a day to see Talasco Segovia, to see Luján, to see all those players that just came in and see how can they come in a game that's going to not matter, but it's going to dictate a lot for how their performances can be with this Inter Miami team, because it's the type of competition that they're gonna face during the season of MLS, right? So I think we will see an alternative lineup because it wouldn't make sense to me to risk Messi in a friendly before 4 days before an important game that you have to play, that you have to travel, that you have to be in the cold, all of that. So it wouldn't be smart, right? But that was what Mascherano said before, but now he's changing the tune, of course, because of tickets. We all know that story. With Inter Miami is going to be the same again this year. We're never going to get a straight answer if Messi is starting or not. But
no, he starts tomorrow. He starts.
You think he'll start?
I think they start. I think the main group starts. It's not a secret who Inter Miami starters are. You know what I think? I also think that we will see for the first time with the starting group Velasco Segovia, because we have not seen him yet we haven't seen him yet, period. But we haven't seen him with the starting group, and I think if they are as high on him, as we think they are, then tomorrow is the perfect opportunity to give him 45 minutes. The intensity levels will be low for both sides. Both teams have a regular season opener next week. Inter Miami plays even sooner than that in a meaningful match. So intensity level is not going to be high. They'll be knocking it around. Yes, it's the rivalry, El Clásico, whatever, but it's not going to be played with that much intensity. Teams know what they're up against. I'm sure both coaches will talk before the game, and they'll have words with their players. Hey, this is just to get your legs underneath you. One more run out. Let's not do anything crazy. Let's not do anything rash. Let's not get hurt. Don't hurt them, etc., etc. So I think it's going to be a very just pretty much a scrimmage, a glorified scrimmage. Now, one other player that could start with the starting group, in addition to Velasco Segovia, is Drake Callender. Callender has not played for Inter Miami this preseason because he's been dealing with an injury picked up on international duty with the U.S. men's national team. He has been spotted back in training. He's been slowly but surely working his way back to 100% health, and he's practically there. This is what Javier Mascherano had to say about Drake Callender's chance at minutes on Friday night.
Drake está bien, de hecho ya hizo la semana pasada prácticamente casi todo, o los últimos entrenamientos casi por completo, así que esperemos que el viernes podamos sumarlo a la lista de convocados.
Javier.
So before we dive into what the calendar will start or won't start, although I do think he will, leaving some room for interpretation, leaving the thought that maybe he won't, opening the door for some doubt is where he says Drake Callender practically did all of the sessions at the end of last week. So that still says that he hasn't done 100% of the sessions. And there's still some limitation there health-wise, at least as of late last week. Maybe this week he's back to full health. All the same, I think we see him. All the same, I think he starts just to get a run out, although I do not expect him to start.
I don't think he starts. I think he'll come in because you cannot risk a goalkeeper to play after he's been injured like that. Just throw him there to start. It wouldn't make sense. I think he plays. He gets a couple of minutes, but I don't think he'll start. I think we'll see Ustari because
maybe
he needs more playing time because he's probably going to be the starter against Sporting Kansas City and New York City. So I think we'll see Ustari tomorrow starting 100%, and we can see Drake get a couple of minutes maybe in the second half and get his groove on also. But I think we're gonna see Ustari in CONCACAF Champions Cup. And let me say, Ustari's memory, we did an interview with him and he remembered because Motagua eliminated him in the last and only time he played CONCACAF Champions League. So he remembered that. So he has a chip on his shoulder because it was a penalty he committed and he couldn't stop it. And at the 86th minute, and Motagua eliminated Pachuca in Mexico. So after that, it all came downhill for Ustari in Pachuca. And he has a chip in his shoulder, so I'm 100% sure he'll start. And then we'll have to see what Drake.
So you could play mind games though, right? If you're Mascherano, right, you could play mind games. You start calendar in this one, just because if you know Ustari's starting on Tuesday, it doesn't really matter if he gets 45 more minutes tomorrow.
No, I don't think you can play in this moment. You cannot play mind games because Drake Calendar has been injured. You cannot when you have any player, even if it's a goalkeeper, you cannot just throw him.
But
you don't know if he could recaer de la lesión. It's not. You're not gonna throw him.
Andrea,
when someone is coming back from injury, you.
But whether he plays the first half or second half doesn't matter, right? If he plays the first half or second half, no diferencia. He's still playing 45 minutes.
No, because it's not the same. If you throw him in with Messi and Suarez and all the starters, then throwing him in with Santi Morales coming in the second half, it's not the same. The game will not have the same intensity.
For the goalkeeper, I don't think it makes as big of a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't make any difference, but it doesn't make as big of a difference. I listen. I can see Ustari starting tomorrow because he's probably earned to continue working with the first group. But I could also see a chance where they're like, let's give Drake just a shot. Maybe that confuses Sporting Kansas City a little bit as to whether it'll be Drake or Ustari. But I fully agree with you on Tuesday night, barring any random events happening between now and then, Ustari will be in goal for Inter Miami. The comment section is funny.
Put some comments on so I can...
says Drake can be the third goalkeeper of the season. Rather see the legend Rocco Rios Novo, with a very small section of Inter Miami fans, has gotten a cult following because of that penalty kick shootout against Club America, which is funny because people are obviously being they're exaggerating. They're exaggerating, but it is funny. I find it humorous. Justin says Mascherano knows Drake will not help us win anything. He just doesn't fit the system. I agree that with the second part of that Mascherano, the Drake calendar does not fit the Inter Miami system. Jay says Drake equals a liability. And
I just will say something. These people haven't seen Ustari play.
Mike V says Rocco. See, I'm telling you.
These people haven't seen Ustari play. I think majority of Inter Miami fans haven't watched CONCACAF football, don't know. Don't know Ustari, don't know. If they call Drake a liability, you go and watch videos of Ustari in Pachuca and go and read Ustari's history with Pachuca. And
we're not taking the shine off of Rocco Rios Novo right now. Mike V says when Rocco chops onions, the onions cry.
And listen, you know that Rocco,
when Rocco went to the Virgin Islands, he left. Now they are just islands. See, Rocco Rios Novo's got some.
You know that Rocco Rios Novo also has experience in the Champions Cup. He played with Atlanta United.
Malcolm Merlin. Ahora, ¿quién es el negativo? Now, who's being negative, Malcolm Merlin? Because now you're in the comment section saying, but we have seen Drake play for a season now, and he was shit.
At the bottom line, Inter Miami had the chance. They had the chance to bring another goalkeeper, world class. Keylor Navas was available. They didn't bring him, and for me, there's not a big difference between you will not move me from here. There's not a big difference. If I always would prefer a younger goalkeeper than a goalkeeper that's 38 and that he's good with his feet, but it's not constant.
No. Hold on.
He's not constant.
We're going to make this very clear.
Shot stopping.
We're making this very clear. No, Andrea. We're making this very clear.
The goalkeepers, what I mean, between the three goalkeepers, there's not much.
No. Hold on.
None of them are world class. That is the bottom line. None of them are.
Nobody besides the Cuatro Fantásticos are world class on this team. So that's fine. And look, I was actually invited to be a guest on another podcast earlier this evening, and I think they're dropping their season preview package episode next week. And I said this there, and I'll say it here. Drake Calendar last year did not take a step forward. He took a step back from what he showed in 2023. He has shown potential. He has shown the ability to save games or win games with his shot-stopping ability. He has shown that, but he has not done so consistently. He has made errors. He is not good with the ball at his feet. He has gotten better in that regard, but he's still not good and all that comfortable with the ball at his feet. It's very clear to me that Inter Miami this offseason was looking to bring in another goalkeeper. There were reports, there were rumors, there was links left and right. I asked Drake Calendar about that on day one of preseason while he was with the U.S. men's national team. It's very clear that they wanted to bring someone in to be the number one. That never happened. They never brought somebody else in. So what
That was
happened
not
is
real. They were not looking for a goalkeeper.
Ustadi returns and Drake Callender goes out injured. I could hear the argument that they're close in level. Like the drop off from one to the other isn't that great. But what's different is the fit. Ustadi may not be as great of a shot stopper as Drake Callender can be, although Drake Callender is not always that, because sometimes he lets in horrendous goals, like the one against the New England Revolution last year, where he lets the ball go through his arms and through his legs into the back of the net. But Ustadi is better with the ball at his feet. And in this system, in this moment, with what Mascherano has at his disposal, I think that Mascherano likes Ustadi better. It doesn't mean that they can't go out and find another goalkeeper at some point this year in the summer. Look, say if someone
For me, it's a passport thing. Just to tell you, I have said this before in this podcast, it's a passport thing. You have a goalkeeper that's 38 years old that hadn't played for a year, that came here, and you were looking for him to be the goalkeeper coach when Saha was going to leave. Let's remember that the club got mad at me because I asked that question when he got here, and they were looking for him to be a goalkeeper coach when Saha left. And now you're gonna tell me that he's going to be the starter for the season. For me, that doesn't make sense, and it's just because his passport and his friendship with Messi.
No.
I'm not saying that he's not good, that he doesn't have experience. Of course he does. But when you have a goalkeeper that is young,
so what?
That goalkeeper and that has promise, that goalkeeper has to go in front.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Yes.
If he's not better today, he doesn't go in front.
Unless you have a better goalkeeper than him, or any Andre Blake, or I have told you this 1,000 times this year in this podcast, or Hugo Lloris or whatever, I wouldn't bench Drake Callender because it doesn't make sense for the future of Inter Miami. You're not gonna sell Ustadi. Drake Callender is one of your assets.
Inter Miami is a team that is in win now mode. So you go with the player that helps you win now. You don't go with the player who maybe will develop into something that helps you win. This is not FC Dallas. This is not the New York Red Bulls. This is a team that's in win now mode. Eden Durance, and I think this is Eden Durance's first comment, says he wasn't in the top 10 goalkeepers last year because of his inconsistency. Again, 2023 Drake was at this level. 2024 Drake took a step back. He didn't take a step forward. And that's where the door is open for someone to come unseat him for that number one spot. And now, because of the perfect storm,
agree. And if you had brought a goalkeeper with level, I would have said, but they were eyeing Ustadi to be the goalkeeper coach last year when they brought him. They didn't want to sign him another year. They wanted him to retire and be the goalkeeper coach. And now he's going to be your starting goalkeeper?
Because they didn't find anybody better in the open market that they could bring in. So they have to choose. We go with Drake Callender, who we are not super high on, or not as high on as we used to be, or well, this technical staff never was. They just got here. But do we go with a goalkeeper who maybe isn't our bread and butter, who isn't our cup of tea, and who, from a performance level in 2024, had a dip, or do we go with the guy who does fit our style, who is more experienced,
that hasn't played in a year?
Sure, maybe. Again, out of the two options, I'm not saying either one is a slam dunk, but out of those two options, I could see why someone goes for this option.
Well, at least you admit that, because that's what I'm saying. There's really no big difference between them. You cannot tell me here that only Ustadi can kick his ball with his feet better than Drake Callender.
Yes, and
that's the only difference.
That's not, Andrea, for the style of play that Inter Miami wants, that is an important style of play. Important. I mean, listen. Drake Callender, if we put him in goal in a final next week, Champions Cup final, comment section, listeners, viewers, Andrea, Jose, Santa Claus, whoever, do you feel confident in his ability to perform in a final if it was next week? No.
He's injured. He was injured.
Now, Ustadi, maybe you don't have the sample size either, but he's more of a experienced, proven commodity over the course of his career. He has his flaws, like he has his strengths. I'm not saying that he's miles better than Drake Callender, but I do think that Drake Callender regrets. That opens the door for someone to come in. Coaching staff sees qualities in Ustadi. I think Ustadi is the...
I would agree with you if they would have brought another goalkeeper. but Ustari was eyed as someone was going to take Saha's place, and now he's the starting goalkeeper.
But things changed, Andrea. The dynamic changed when he arrived.
Things change. You're talking about like if this is Real Madrid and it's Courtois fighting with Lunin. It's not like that.
No, Andrea, you're like going to another like stratosphere. When he arrived, he was just here to help give depth to the goalkeeper spot. Which even then we questioned his arrival too. It was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He came, he was depth. Now, Drake Callender's performance levels since he arrived did not improve. They maybe even got worse. So, I mean, then that changes the whole equation. Now it's not, oh crap, well, Drake Callender is the head and shoulders clear-cut number one, and then we have the goalkeepers behind him. With him dropping in level, that changes the whole thing. That changes the whole dynamic. That opens the door for, again, I'm not saying Ustadi is miles better than Drake Callender, but I could see why the coaching staff could view him as being better right now and trust him more right now. That's what it comes down to. Who do you trust to perform?
Yeah, we don't agree. They trust him, in my opinion, they trust him because he's Messi's friend and he's Argentinian. He speaks Spanish. It's easier for the defenders.
I mean, I will say this. I will add this to your point before we start to wrap up the show. And I got some heat on Twitter today, a little bit, not too much. This is not the first time today at practice that I saw Drake Callender with the other goalkeepers come out holding or carrying or rolling out the water cooler that they have next to the goal that they drink their waters out of. Now, why I said, look, and I tweeted this and I said, it could mean something, it could mean nothing. Maybe Drake Callender just likes checking out the cooler. Maybe he's been out of practice for the much of preseason, so he wants to do it. But normally in teams, existen códigos. There are codes within teams normally. And who are the players that bring out the water coolers or that bring out the balls or the cones? I mean, I'm talking about, lower levels where there's not a kit man. Normally it's the younger guys, the guys that are coming through, the guys that aren't the starters. Normal. So to me, it could mean something. I'm not saying it does mean something, but I say it could mean something that Drake Callender is on water cooler duty. And while they go through their drills, and I know you've noticed this as well, the goalkeeper coach talks in 99% Spanish. Rios Novo and Ustadi fully understand and fully can comprehend. Drake Callender probably comprehends most, but not all of it. They almost never speak in English. Like, I almost took a picture today of the three of them and almost put the caption of which one of these does not belong, right? Like the old little exercise you used to do when you were in school, like there's a bunch of square figures and there's one circle one. You're like, which does not belong? I almost did that because that's what it seems like.
That is why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. You see that we go to training and see that. And for me personally, if I was Drake Callender, I would feel bothered because I would feel that it's not because of my performances that, yes, every goalkeeper has, even the best goalkeeper in the world has had blunders. That happens to every goalkeeper. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose because of your goalkeeper, even the best. I've seen Manuel Neuer do stuff that you wouldn't see an amateur do, but he's done it. That happens. But for me, it would say a lot that just because I am the only gringo, as they call him, in the team, I am treated this way. And for me, in my analysis, I tend to agree with that. Not because Ustari is bad or something like that. I repeat, just because he was brought here, hiring him to be the replacement of Saha. And now he is the starting one. Why did that happen? Okay, Drake lowered his level, but that has other stuff. When you analyze everything that is happening with Inter Miami, you see that stuff matters because we've seen it in every level of this team.
If Drake Callender had maintained his level, this wouldn't be a question. This would not be a talking point. Drake Callender would probably be the number one unless somebody else was brought in from abroad.
Drake Callender didn't have anything to do with Inter Miami going out with Atlanta. Let me tell you that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about how you improve a team as a whole.
Yeah, but he didn't have anything to do with them getting eliminated.
That is a weakness.
It's really that step up, Ustari, than Drake Callender?
Ustari, I could see being a step up because Drake Callender's
no, but you could see it right now. Do you see him as a step up?
I don't know. I have to see him. I have to
Exactly.
see him in games that matter. I have to see him in games that matter.
Exactly. We will see. We will see. And this is the decisions that Mascherano needs to manage, and that's why Tata Martino decided to lead this project. Because
I don't think he decided to leave.
Well, or whatever, he was fired, or whatever you want to think about it, but he was not bothered because he had to leave this Inter Miami, because these things at the end of the day add up to why teams fail. And when you see other players seeing this situation, not only with Drake but with others happen, then it's going to be a problem. And we talked about this last year, and then they ended up getting eliminated from every competition. So it's something that we need to watch out for this year also.
Again, I'm not saying that.
What was the comment? I didn't.
I'm not saying Oscar Ustari is the next coming of freaking Oliver Kahn, but could he be an upgrade? Maybe, because Drake Callender was that inconsistent last year. Before we round out this talking point, I will say, look, to me, as the reporter, journalist I am, and how I view things, I do view Callender bringing out the cooler as meaning something. What does it mean? That's open to interpretation. You could read into it that Drake Callender is selfless. You could read into it that he's the odd man out. You could read into it that he doesn't have the type of alpha personality that a number one goalkeeper should have, because another goalkeeper would be like, hell no, I'm not taking that out. Tell the young guy who just got here, Rocco Rios Nova, to do it. I mean, you could read into it any type of way, but I do think that it means something. What does it mean? I'll leave it up to you guys to interpret. Last thing we'll talk about, because this is a talking point that we have had behind the scenes, and I've seen it on social media as well, especially since the end of last season. That is one Julian Gressel, who we spoke to today before practice. First time we've had a chance to chat with him this preseason.
Another one in the same situation as Drake Callender.
So last year, we'll spend 5, 6, 7 minutes on this before we wrap up. Last season.
And Sporting Kansas City, or you're not going to let me talk about the snow and all of that?
No. We saved that for next week's show before Kansas City. But Julian Gressel was a go-to guy from Inter Miami in terms of interviews last year. He was regularly talking to us. Even at times we were like, oh, otra vez Julian Gressel. Even though he's a good quote, we just got him a lot last year. This preseason, we didn't get him until almost the end. Now, we'll talk about his role. But one thing that you have to talk about when you mention Julian Gressel's name these days is that he has a podcast. And in that podcast, he shares insights into Inter Miami. That podcast reinitiated or started back up again for a second season, a second year, earlier this week, just by sheer coincidence. So I asked Julian Gressel about that. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, it's fun. That's why we continued to do the second season. We're hopefully back regularly and hopefully grow it as we can, and trying to continue to provide a little bit more insight in what's happening through that platform.
What's been what's been the initial reaction from the team, staff, with regards to the podcast?
Hello, Mike. What's good? Is it? It's good. Yeah, it's been. I mean, obviously, it's been good. You know, the club hasn't really said anything. Obviously, they cautioned me on certain things, but I'm well aware of those. I think I have a pretty good head on myself, and I'm not just gonna blurt out things I'm not supposed to. But so it's certainly. Again, just a way for me to try and engage the fans a little bit more, provide a little bit more insight into what it's really like, and have a little bit more of an opportunity than just these pressers to really go in depth and talk about situations of how I felt, of what things happened, all those types of things.
So no translation needed. They spoke in English, and this is obviously English predominant show, even though we do the bilingual thing and there's Spanish speakers amongst us. So in a nutshell, there's a lot to dissect here, a lot to diminuir, there's a lot. If you want to shred the chicken, there's a lot to do, and probably more than we have time for here. The comment section is incredible right now. There's a lot of comments about Gressel.
Read them.
What people think.
Read them.
Malcolm Merlin says, I like Gressel, but doesn't provide the value compared to his salary. Luis Lopez says, Messi glazing at its best. John S. says, Gressel equals useless. Nader Sanchez, Gressel is a snitch. He loves to gossip about the team way too much on his podcast. In Europe, he would be punished or kicked out of the club. Luis Lopez says the podcast is mostly Messi talk and not really about the team. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And look, again, this is where it's open for your interpretation as a fan, as a reporter, whatever you want. Because someone could sit here and say, "What? There's nothing wrong with him doing a podcast. What's wrong with him?" Just like there's nothing wrong with Drake Callender rolling out the water cooler. There's nothing wrong with Julian Gressel having a podcast. What's wrong with that? But based on how you view things, how you can see things, your way of thinking, I agree with the comment section that yeah, it can be taken, and I think there's a perception from a lot of people that maybe Gressel's doing a little bit too much, and we've talked about it again in our beloved WhatsApp group. With, is this being received positively? That's why I asked him, what's been the feedback? What's been the reception to your podcast from within the organization? And he says, the club really hasn't told me anything. Obviously, they've cautioned me about certain things. So wait a minute. Either they haven't told you something or they did tell you something. I think he meant like they haven't given him any feedback to the podcast, but I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I buy that. Andrea, you're smiling over there. It's a little devilish.
No, I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't want to say anything because let's face it, man. I don't know. I'm gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna read some comments.
Mike V says that car you heard was me and my Lambo driving by Cuervo, Miami. In football, the locker room is sacred. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that. Look, I'm gonna give you what I think. Full picture. I think Julian Gressel is a very smart person. I think he knows what he's doing. I think the whole podcast, the whole sharing insight into Messi is him jugando sus fichas. That's him playing his chess pieces the way he sees fit. Because it'll draw attention to him. It'll help share some insight. It drums up interest in his persona and his podcast. Maybe he has a post-playing career trying to be in media. So there's all these things. I think it's not a coincidence that he started a podcast while he was Messi's teammate. Not like something he's been doing for years and years and years. I do think Inter Miami at some point has said something to him. Absolutely. I definitely think something has been said. He shared anecdotes about Messi last year. We know how Messi's fingerprints are all over the club. I mean, something has to have definitely been said. If you look at Julian Gressel's role right now within the team, and obviously coaches have changed and everything, but he went from being an every game starter, or not every game starter, but a regular starter, to now being a player that gets spells off the bench late. And he's being given the captain's armband while the young guys are out there. And I asked him about that. I asked him about the fight for minutes. I wish I had the clip. I didn't clip it here, but we can share it later in the year or closer to the season start. But he said essentially, he thinks he can contribute if he's given the opportunity. He's kind of taken on this role of being the leader for the young Jacks right now, et cetera, et cetera. But it's clear to me he is persona non grata. He is on the outside looking in. Last anecdote I'll share about today, because Andrea, like you said, you weren't there. I asked him at the very end. They already said last question. But I asked him at the very end in a very joking manner, and I was just trying to have a conversation. But I said jokingly, I was like, "What's up, man? You shy this year? Like we haven't heard from you much because we're used to hearing from him a lot." And he responded, "It's not me, it's them." And he pointed to the PR team. So, to me, it shows clearly that Julian Gressel is more afuera que adentro with this team.
Listen, Julian Gressel made the mistake of revealing what happened in the locker room last year, and that Messi doesn't talk to them, that Messi doesn't talk in the locker room, and that's not something that's easily forgiven, because I know that happened. I have said it many times in this podcast since last year, and you will know that happened, that the Inter Miami locker room was not united. And the thing is that Gressel, you may not believe it when Andrea and Franco say it, but when Gressel said it, of course it was big news. So he put a target on his back, and it is what it is. I feel bad for players like Gressel, for players like Drake Callender.
But I think, Andrea, do you agree with me that it's
guys? Because
do you agree with
them? And the other ones, they are like here. You can see it in training. You can see it in a lot of stuff with Inter Miami. And listen, that's really unfortunate because Franco. Hey, shit, we lost Franco.
Oops. Are you there? I lost you there for a second. Hello?
Are we on?
There we go. Yes,
I was alone and I was like, what? So you can see that there's a difference with Inter Miami. And I said this last year when Yadlin left, that a team that's so ununited is not gonna be.
Malcolm Merlin says Gressel cut. I love our comment section. Honestly, you guys are.
Yes.
I like the co-host, but like I don't know. You guys might be the favorite part of the podcast. Absolutely.
Yes. So listen, that was unforgivable because Gressel opened a window that not many players that left Inter Miami opened, and he opened it playing there still. So he opened that kind of worms, and now he's. Of course, PR people won't want him to talk because they know we would ask him about it. And
Jay Vasquez says, can't understand the hate toward Gressel. No problem with him having a podcast. See, so it depends on your viewpoint.
And
right?
especially because, listen, Franco, the thing is that people have to understand that these players, especially American guys, are not used to seeing this that is happening with Inter Miami and having Messi and having.
Oh, wait, Andrea, do
everything.
you agree with me? Do you agree with me? John SS, Gressel knows what he's doing. Go check the title of his podcast episode. But do you agree with me? Right? Look, Julian Gressel's been around the block now. He's not a young buck anymore. No, he's been in Major League Soccer for a while. He came in with the Atlanta United team with Tata Martino and Miguel Almirón and Joseph Martinez and Tito Villalba and Leandro González Pires. He's seen stuff in his time in the league. And back then he was new jack. So you keep your mouth shut most of the time when you're a new jack. But now he's more experienced. Do you agree with me that he is playing his cards? That this is his way of being like, look, I'm on the outside looking in, just like probably Drake Callender, Robert Taylor.
Exactly, yes. That's what is happening.
But I'm not going to go down quietly. I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it with a smile on my face, and I'm going to, not push the boundary, but I might dance along the line. I might dance along the line and say a little bit of this and a little, because look, Inter Miami can't stop him, right? There's no, you can't deny him his freedom of speech of talking about a podcast, right?
And listen, this is something new, but I was reading some comments that players in Europe do it now. I remember Toni Kroos before retiring, he had a podcast with his brother, and a lot of polémicas happened because of what he said in the podcast with his brother. Michael Antonio also has a very famous podcast from West Ham United. He has a very famous podcast that in England. So it's something that's happening because it's a way of players to communicate better with fans, and obviously it's a way for them to look for the future when they retire, because their careers are not long, right? Not everyone can play 20 years like Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and they take advantage of that now with new technologies, and how with Spotify and Apple Podcasts, it's very easy to make a podcast, right? And they take advantage of that because they have that insight. Even in the NFL, many players have podcasts right now in the NFL, active players that have podcasts in the NFL. So it's a new reality. I understand that people don't like it, but it's not against the rules either, right?
At least not yet. Maybe
at least not yet. Maybe Messi makes it against the rules in Inter Miami, and now they can fire Julian Gressel, right?
Professional sports teams will prohibit players from starting their own podcast. They can be guest appearing, but I mean, it's very interesting dynamic into the whole fold. Like it's like he's the, like the loose cannon in the group.
Yeah.
Like Drake Callender. Listen,
because
Drake Callender, Robert Taylor.
Drake will never do that.
Exactly. The rest of them will just, even if they're maybe being treated unfairly or they're in a bad situation, they're still going to be good soldiers. Whereas Julian Gressel's kind of like, hey, look, I'm going to do whatever I have to do while I'm here, but hey, you can't stop me.
Remember, Gressel is a good combination because he's American, but he's also German, so he doesn't like he doesn't like cowards or hides between anything. He's gonna tell it to your face, right? What he thinks. And every time we have asked him about his podcast, he has responded. So I really like that, to tell you the truth. If you can dish it and then you come and you pones la cara y lo dices en la cara de todo el mundo, and then I respect that. You have to respect that.
No, but it's astuto. It's astuto. He's very astute about how he's doing it. It's not.
What else can he do, Franco? What else can he do? Before he had Tata Martino. Right now he's completely alone.
Oh, again.
Maybe with Robert Taylor, Ray Callender,
I'm not saying
Ryan Saylor. Maybe.
I'm not saying he's wrong in having a podcast. I just think it's a fascinating dynamic, fascinating wrinkle in the Inter Miami story that one of the players who isn't part of the core group of Argentines and Latin American has his own podcast in which he shares insights into the team. And again, he does so in a very smart way, in a very intelligent way. Doesn't cross the line, but definitely is.
Yeah, he knows how to toe that line. And listen, it's something, as I said last year, it's something to be very, very. We have to be very atentos, because if you've been listening to comments from players, especially not those first team players or Argentinian players, for me it was very telling that Leo Afonso, someone asked him, have you talked to Leo Messi? And he said, I haven't talked to him since last year. And you have been almost 2 months in preseason, and Messi hasn't said hello to you.
Well, we will leave it there for this show, because we can leave that for the season preview. We can leave that for next week before the regular season starts. I'm going to try to have us on twice. One on Monday before the Tuesday game, so we can preview that. Might be tight. Maybe Sunday if we can wing it, and then after the Tuesday game before the regular season. I'm going to try. I know your schedules, you and Jose, are tight, but it's a big week, and there's a lot, of course, to preview before the regular season gets going. So we will leave it there.
You didn't let me talk about the snow in Kansas City.
No, we leave that for the preview.
You censored me. You are like Inter Miami with Gressel. You are censoring me.
No, Inter Miami is not censoring Julian Gressel, by the way. Not yet.
Yeah, with media, not with his podcast. But to speak with us, they censored him the whole preseason.
I mean, look, he's on the outside looking. I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded at some point, in this window. He's on like $1 million. He's just going to be a role player. That money can be used elsewhere. So
the problem is that teams know that, and we have spoken about this. Teams know that when Inter Miami needs to move on from a player, that's why they don't want to pay Inter Miami.
I don't think he's long. I don't think he's long for Inter Miami. The only other thing I'll say, and we'll leave this as como la dejamos ahí picando going into next week. There were 2 rondos earlier this week, just to give you an example. And I tweeted this, so you can find it at Franco Panizo on Twitter or on X. The 2 rondos, I think they were of 11 players each. One was predominantly Hispanic-speaking players, plus Fafa Picol, who also speaks Spanish, by the way. And the other one was predominantly the English speakers / the youngins / the English speakers. Did I say that? I already said that. And I think the line is very, very clear. Very, very clear as to who's where.
And that was the... I'm going to end up saying this. At least with Tata Martino, Tata is was an experienced coach who tried to bridge that, because Tata didn't treat anyone differently. And Mascherano, being an experienced coach, being an Argentine that usually tend to be very arrogant, that may be something to watch during the season, because when a coach loses, the locker room is a mess. And from what we've been seeing, I'm not saying they're fighting or something like that, but there are signs that this is not a united locker room, right? And
listen, sometimes it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it
doesn't have to be.
If you're good enough, you can win games, and it doesn't matter. But
yeah, exactly.
In an ideal world, you want the locker room to be as tight knit as possible to help raise the chances of winning. But if you're that talented, sometimes you don't need it. Anyway, we will leave it there. So we will be back, hopefully. I prefer Sunday, but I don't know if you guys' schedule will permit. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. We will keep you guys abreast to all the news with regards to when we'll be back. But I definitely expect us to return before the start of the Champions Cup, and then another one before the start of the season. So 2 episodes next week. Hopefully, stay tuned for news on social media. Thank you guys for checking in, for tuning in. We went long. I said we didn't have that much to talk about, and then we ended up going longer than usual because Andrea and I like to debate a lot. And I mean, there were some interesting talking points, some very interesting talking points. Even though there weren't that many, there were some very interesting ones. So we'll leave it there for now. So people are asking for Sunday. Thomas says Sunday, please. John S. says Sunday. See, people want the Sunday show. Maybe. I'm going to do my best. I'm available. But anyway,
I can trust, but maybe who knows?
Have a good Valentine's, everybody. If you're going up to Tampa, enjoy the match, drive safe or travel safe. We will talk to you guys again next week. So for Andrea Llanes, I am Franco Pinizo. You have been listening to Miami Total Football Radio. We'll talk to you guys again next week.